I never imagined my own parents would one day look me in the eye, or rather, speak into my ear, and tell me my children weren't welcome in their home. Yet there I was, standing in my kitchen, staring at my phone in disbelief. Thanksgiving was a few weeks away, and my mother's voice was unusually light as she said, "Honey, we need to talk about Thanksgiving this year." My heart warmed briefly, foolishly hoping for tradition and togetherness. But her next words doused that hope cold. Mom explained that this year would be different. "Smaller, just adults," she said. Confused, I asked if that meant no kids at all. Her pause spoke volumes. "We just feel like it would be better if you left them with a sitter this year." I gripped the counter. "Just my kids? What about Daniel's kids?" Another hesitation. Then the truth. Daniel and Sophie are bringing their boys, but they're more, quiet, refined. It started with a knock. Soft, timid, like the sound itself was embarrassed to be there. I almost didn't answer. I was used to silence by then, but something made me open the door, and there she was. Mom, looking smaller than I remembered, tired, worn down in a way no makeup could fix. "Hi," she said, like we were neighbors, like she hadn't disappeared from my life without a second thought. I stood there, blocking the doorway, not saying a word. She fidgeted with her purse. The same designer brand Daniel used to buy her. "I heard you're doing well," she said, forcing a smile. "I thought maybe we could talk." The nerve. The sheer audacity to show up now, after everything. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice flat. Her eyes darted away. The truth was there, in the cracks of her mascara, the way she gripped her bag like it held the answers. She wasn't here for me. She was here because she needed something. "Of course. I'm going through a rough patch," she said. "Daniel and we're having some financial trouble." There it was. The real reason. Not love, not regret, not guilt, just desperation. I almost laughed. Instead, I leaned against the doorframe and asked, "And what does that have to do with me?" Her face crumpled. For a second, the mask slipped. "You could help," she said. "You're doing well. I'm still your mother." Still your mother. Funny how that only mattered when she needed saving. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The silence between us said everything. I closed the door, gently. I didn't slam it. I didn't yell. I just ended it. For the first time on my terms, the silence on the other end of the line was deafening. For a moment, I thought maybe she had hung up in disbelief. Maybe she realized finally how badly they had hurt me, hurt my kids. But then came the voice I knew too well. Cold. Defensive. "You're being childish," Mom snapped, "cutting us off like this over a silly misunderstanding." A laugh escaped me, sharp, bitter. "This isn't about a misunderstanding," I said, my hands trembling. "This is about years of you making me and my kids feel like second-class citizens, about you taking from me without even asking, about you making it clear that Daniel's family matters. And mine doesn't." "You're twisting things," she said quickly. "You're emotional right now. It's crazy how clear everything looks. When you're too late to stop it, there were signs. Small ones at first, a little jab here, a missed birthday there. Mom would forget my daughter's recital but somehow post photos of Daniel's stepkids' soccer games the same day. Or when we all pitched in for Dad's retirement party and Daniel conveniently forgot to pay me back, but showed up with a $500 watch for Dad, smiling like a hero. I swallowed it every time. Told myself, it's just family stuff. It's messy, it's normal. It wasn't. The real shift came after Dad passed. It was like a door slammed shut, and Daniel was the one who locked it. Suddenly, Mom was busy all the time. Calls went unanswered. Texts turned into one-word replies. Invites to dinner. Somehow, she always had plans. But when Daniel called, she was there, laughing, available, prioritizing him the way she used to prioritize me. I remember one night sitting in my car, outside her house, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. The lights were on. Cars lined the driveway. There was a party inside, a party I wasn't invited to, for my own mother's birthday. And when I asked her later, voice shaking, why she hadn't told me, she just said, "Oh, it was last minute. Daniel organized everything. I didn't think you'd want to come. Didn't think I'd want to come." To my mother's birthday. That night, something inside me cracked. But I still didn't walk away. Not yet. Because when you love someone, you cling to hope, even when hope is breaking your ribs from the inside. The final blow wasn't loud. It wasn't a big betrayal with fireworks and shouting. It was quiet, personal. A knife slid between my ribs with a smile. It was the house. Dad's house. The place where I learned to ride a bike, where we spent summers fixing the old porch swing and winters curled by the fire. The house he wanted me to have. Promised I would have. Dad had even written it down, told me he updated his will to leave it to me. Said he wanted me to raise my own family there, fill it with laughter again. He made me swear I'd never sell it, that I'd keep it alive. But when the will was finally read, the house wasn't there. It was gone, sold 2 months after he died. Quietly, quickly, to Daniel, for pennies. My hands shook as the lawyer showed me the papers. A sale pushed through under emergency liquidation paperwork that Daniel helped Mom handle, since she was grieving too hard to manage the details herself. The signatures were there. Mom's, Daniel's as the witness. I sat in that cold, gray office, staring at a piece of paper that said my childhood was sold to the very man who spent years gutting my place in this family, and my mother. The woman who held me when I was sick, who braided my hair for school photos. She didn't even look guilty when I confronted her. She just said, "It's just a house. Daniel needed somewhere closer to work. You'll understand when you have kids. Understand? Understand what? That loyalty can be sold for convenience? That blood can be diluted by greed?" I drove home that night without turning the radio on. No sound, no tears, just silence thick enough to suffocate me. That was the night I stopped pretending. Stopped hoping. Stopped lying to myself that this was salvageable. That was the night I started planning. Because some betrayals aren't meant to be forgiven. They're meant to be answered. I didn't sleep for 3 nights. Not because I was sad. Because I was awake in a way I had never been before. Sharp. Electric. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to beg her to love me the way she used to. No, I was going to show them. I started small. Gathered every piece of evidence I could find. Emails, bank transfers, property deeds. Daniel was sloppy, always had been. He left digital fingerprints everywhere. A fake charity, set up in Mom's name. Money siphoned from Dad's accounts before he even passed. Transactions made late at night, under fake companies Daniel had created years ago, waiting for this moment. It wasn't just the house. It was everything. The life insurance policy Dad paid into for 30 years. Gutted. The trust fund he set up. For my future kids. Empty. Daniel and Mom had drained it dry, like parasites who couldn't believe how easy it was to feed. But here's the thing about people like Daniel. They get arrogant. They think they're untouchable. They leave trails. And I knew people, good people. Friends who still believed in me even when my own family didn't. One call to an old college buddy who worked cybersecurity. Another to a woman I knew at the local news station. Another to a quiet, relentless estate lawyer who owed me a favor, from a kindness I'd long forgotten. Within weeks, I had a case. Nada, he said. She said, no. A brutal, ironclad case of fraud, elder abuse, and conspiracy to defraud an estate. But I didn't file it right away. No, I waited. Because revenge is like baking bread. You don't pull it out too early. You let it rise. I was going to take everything they thought was theirs. I wasn't just coming for the house. I was coming for everything. And when I was finished, the two of them would have to sit in the ashes of the empire they stole, while I walked away without ever raising my voice. That was the plan. And God help anyone who stood in my way. It happened. On a Tuesday. A regular, boring, nothing special Tuesday. Daniel was hosting one of his little garden parties, showing off his estate like he was royalty. Neighbors, business associates, even a few low-level politicians he hoped to impress. I parked. 2 blocks away, wore a plain black suit. No fanfare, just purpose. In my hand, a thick manila folder. Inside, enough evidence to destroy 2 lives and burn every bridge they thought they'd crossed safely. I walked up the driveway like a guest, invisible to the hired valets and the shallow, laughing guests sipping champagne. Daniel spotted me from across the yard. His face twitched. 1 second, 2. The mask slipped. Just enough. Mom was at his side, in her glittering cocktail dress, in her stolen pearls. I felt nothing. Not anger. Not sadness, just cold, clean justice. I reached them, dropped the folder into Daniel's hands, and leaned in close. "You've been served," I said quietly. "And you're going to lose everything." His hands shook as he flipped it open. Page after page after page, emails, transfers, fake charities, names of every witness willing to testify. A subpoena for financial records he thought he'd hidden. Mom's wine glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the ground. Nobody laughed now. Silence rippled outward like a bomb had gone off. "Leave," I said. "You have 30 days. They stared at me, mouths open, scrambling to find words that could undo the truth laid bare in front of them. But there were none. I turned my back on them, just like they once did to me. Walked away under the stunned, disbelieving eyes of the crowd. And when I reached the end of the driveway, I didn't look back, not even once. 30 days came and went. They fought, of course. Hired expensive lawyers. Tried to bury the evidence. Threatened, begged, wept. None of it mattered. The truth was too solid. Too loud to be ignored. By the time the dust settled, Daniel had lost his title, his company, his reputation. Mom lost the estate, the accounts, the circles of friends that once praised her. All those pretty little things she traded me for? Gone. Meanwhile, I bought the house. Their house. At the foreclosure auction, it was laughably cheap. Less than they spent on a single vacation. When I stepped inside for the first time, the air smelled different. Not like betrayal anymore, like victory. I didn't keep it, though. Too many ghosts in the walls. I sold it, donated half the profit. To a scholarship fund for kids like me. Kids who'd been thrown away, forgotten. The other half, I used to build something better. Something that couldn't be taken from me. A life. Simple. Honest. Real. I don't think about them much anymore. Every so often, I'll hear a whisper about Daniel, working some dead-end consulting job, or about Mom, bouncing between rental, homes trying to reclaim the life she squandered, but I don't hate them. I don't love them either. They're just echoes now. The past taught me everything I needed. How to survive. How to rise. How to win without ever lifting a sword. And standing here now, under my own roof, with my own keys in my pocket, I realize something. Some revenge stories don't end with explosions. Some end with silence, with dignity, and with a door closing, softly, finally, on everything that tried to destroy you.